My life is really full. It's a really good full, but it is like capacity. I have the hiking company, which I own and run. I'm a professional speaker, and then I'm also a writer. And then I have a 2-year-old, and I have a 6-year-old, and a husband, and some really good friends. You find yourself just giving and giving and giving, and it's really easy to lose yourself. And I just worry that if I stop doing this, that I wouldn't find it on the other side. The freedom out here to not have to respond or react or produce is a gift of self-knowledge. I've been able to experience something transformative. And it shouldn't be revolutionary. It's just spending time outdoors. But it is so powerful, it's so transformative, and time again I saw the trail give other people what they needed. This is a form of beauty, and encouraging people to find beauty and make time for beauty in their lives is important. I didn't see things as societal expectations really until I started hiking, right? It was just what was normal. But I think growing up as a woman, I was supposed to be nicer than the guys or cuter than the guys, or I wasn't supposed to compete necessarily. Going back and setting the record, a big part of it for me was I didn't want to feel like I was in a different category. I didn't want there to be a men's record and a women's record. I didn't want to feel inferior. A lot of times now I just get like annoyed with this record. Like I love it because I know what it was personally, but externally I just get annoyed, partly because I feel like societally I never got to really enjoy it. Before I did it, no one thought I could do it, right? So it was just negativity. And then I did it and I finished. And then from that moment, everyone was like, what's next? And I was like, that thing I just did, that was it. I don't feel like I have to do the next best thing.
We venerate fast. That's better than slow. And we have that in us. And it's hard to buck that conditioning. People want to avoid pain. They take the easy way out. You're walking the Appalachian Trail, you're not taking the easy way out. This ain't no shortcut. This ain't no popping the pill to make you feel better. What she did was Olympian. That was the true Olympian thing. That's what I like. What she learned about herself and her place in the world, and how she could move through the world at a pace that's unusual.
I think immediately when she finished the hike, people wanted to focus on numbers. And that's what the world does. Like, it focuses on concrete, tangible results. And for her, she couldn't care less about that stuff. I genuinely think that she felt the whole time like, I want to see what I'm capable of, and I want to do it with my husband. She just wanted to chase this dream and see what happened.
Well, the Appalachian Trail runs for 2,200 miles from Maine to Georgia. Jennifer Pharr Davis did it the fastest time in history. Congratulations, and there's so many other records out there for you to break as well.
Once we've been really successful at something, then we live with these insecurities of how can I get back to that level. And when you get into this world of like professional adventuring and sponsorship, it's all predicated on what bigger, better thing can you do now. And it's really unhealthy. Like, I feel like it's super toxic. It's bad for the industry. It's bad for individuals. It's not a healthy way to live. It's not the trail. Like, the trail doesn't go up and then up and then up, right? Like, the trail goes up and down and up and down and up and down. And for me, clearly what I did next was bigger and better. Like, I started my family. But industry speak, that was not bigger and better. It's day 3, And I'm hiking up Balsam Mountain. I've already done about 16 miles and I have 4 left to go. And it hurts. I remember this feeling. I remember your heartbeat in your head and the sweat going down your temples and an ache in your thighs, and it makes me feel old. And it makes me feel a little more out of shape than I was the last time I did a long trail. But it also feels really good. The thing I missed the most after my first thru hike, I missed how beautiful I felt out here. When I started the trail as a 21-year-old, I would have thought that I had a pretty healthy self-image, but here's the thing. I'd accepted all the ways that my body was wrong, right? I was like, I'm super flat, and that's not okay, but I'll be okay with it. And I'm 6 feet tall, which that's really awkward, but like, okay, it's not normal, I'm okay with it. But all I saw was things that were wrong that I had to forgive. And then I went hiking, and it totally changed because all of a sudden, I loved my body. Now all of a sudden, like, being 6 feet tall was awesome. Now all of a sudden, like, my calves bulging with veins in them were amazing, especially going uphill. And now all of a sudden, being super flat, like, I'm ultra light, you know? Like, I love my body. It wasn't wrong. I didn't have to make apologies for what were not standard.
I do remember coming off the AT and going to a doctor's office and looking at magazines again for like the first time in 6 months, being like, wow, those women are really hungry. Hungry. Somebody should really give them some trail magic. You know? I finally associated skinny with being hungry rather than being beautiful.
Right.
I was like, you don't want to be skinny.
That is going to take you up that mountain.
It's different from the magazines, right? You come out here and you realize what you can do, and you see your thighs as like a vehicle to get you up the mountain, as opposed to like something that doesn't look good in a dress, right? And it's like you said, like the more I'm out here, the more confident I feel, and then when I go home and I'm away from it for a while, it's like
I think I definitely feel like my truest self out here. I mean, it's like the truest version of me, the one I'm most comfortable with at home, definitely.
You know, you don't have a mirror, so you see yourself through interactions with other hikers, and if you're kind, if you make someone smile, that's a reflection. That makes you feel pretty. It's interesting because, like, I always thought that nature was beautiful, and I think most people agree on that. But I had never considered myself as a part of nature. Like, I had never seen myself as a part of all this beauty. It is an unrefutable fact that we are a part of this. And so I'm not going to look at the magazines, you know, like I'm going to look around and feel connected to these beech trees and this forest, and I'm going to feel beautiful. Yeah, the trail record was hard. It's not the hardest thing that I've ever done. And in some ways it was easy because I got to choose it. And I knew what I was getting into on the Appalachian Trail. With motherhood, you think you know what you're getting into because it's this like universal experience that so many women go through. But I remember reading the book, like What to Expect When You're Expecting, and just throwing it against the wall. Like I was so mad because it wasn't describing any of my journey into motherhood. You know, I was fortunate in that we were able to get pregnant easily, but I also then struggled deeply with depression during my entire pregnancy with both my kids. It just felt like my body was not my own, my mind was not my own, my relationships shifted. I didn't want to see anyone, I didn't want to talk to anyone, and I wasn't at the point where I was gonna hurt myself or the child, but like I understood why people would. Like it was a pretty dark time and a dark place. And it was interesting because I didn't want help. Like, I was in that place, and it's so easy when you're not depressed to say, well, people in that state, they need help. But when you're in it, it's just hard. It's just hard to reach out. But the one thing I knew I could do that would help me is I could go hiking and backpacking, and I did. In my first pregnancy, I backpacked over 500 miles in the Pyrenees with my husband, and it was life-saving in a way. It really was. And it also sucked. Like, I had a pack on my back, I had a pack on my front, lost all bladder control, like had a yeast infection, like it was miserable hiking, pregnant, and I loved it. I loved it because it was something I could do in my body that felt like me at a time when my body and emotions felt out of whack. And that was what I think also helped bond me to this thing in my body, which for a long time didn't feel like a child. But when we started adventuring together and I could feel Charlie, I remember this just kicking as I was going up mountains, being like, this is hard. And I was like, I know, it's hard. And all of a sudden, like, we were in it together.
One of her favorite sayings is the trail is a metaphor for life. There's panoramic views and days where it's just raining and dumping on you. But Jen's other big thing, and she just says, keep going. And I think that's really beautiful because you can quit, you know? You can want to give up and things get hard and you get to a breaking point. And you may break for a little bit, but then you get back on the trail and you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and the power of positive forward motion is healing when you can continue to just put one foot in front of the other and just keep moving. Usually good things are going to happen, and there's healing in that.
This is a message we all need to hear. This is a reset of what's important. This is countercultural. This is saying, you know what? You can be happy with minimal things. You don't need to work and toil just for money, especially if it's time away from your family and time away from your kids. It's okay to be quiet. It's okay to be still. And it's just so liberating, and it makes you feel so at home and so whole. Showing everyone, and especially women, that they have a place out here and that they are valued out here, that's important to me.
Now, I don't normally like getting up in the morning, but old Mr. Sun is shining down on me. So you chipped your nail, you stubbed your toe, you lost your phone. Life's a rolling stone on a broken roller coaster. Scream shit, move on. Throw your hands up, move on. It's all good. Today's your day. Time is filled with swift transition. Put yourself in good position if you want. Things can go your way. Ain't no time to smell the roses. Gotta get to where to go. The road's already been paved. Here I go, ready now. I'm coming for you. Can't nothing stop me. I got some things I gotta do. Hey, I'm making a move. Study long, study wrong. Ain't nothing gonna happen on its own. I'm making a move. Don't need no hickeys for this song. I got joy all through my soul. I'm making a move. Get up, get out. Mr. Sun is shining on me. I'm making a move.